All right, everyone, this is going to be part two of our video series for the Sunset Key Vacation Home Design drawing set. And what we're going to do is we've already created a wall section here that we're going to use. We got to label some of the components, and I'm going to show you how we're going to go about doing that. And as we go through, we'll add some other interior elevations to our drawing as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go down. Let's go ahead and navigate to the actual sections drawing that we created. And I'm going to find, as I scroll up through my project browser, I want to find that section 1 under wall sections. So actually I want to rename section 1 to go through and call this typical wall section. And then I'm going to drag this over and put this onto my drawing. Okay. Now most of these, so if I go ahead and choose, you can either select the view like this, and over here in your properties palette, you can change the scale of the viewport. So I'm going to go ahead and bump this up to 1/2 inch equals a foot and click apply. And then once you click off of it, then you can go ahead and drag this in. So again, I'm going to adjust the view label so that way it's underneath our view. Click on it, drag the little button, and then or the little grip, and go from there. And we'll see what we can make happen here. All right, so here's our typical wall section, and what we're going to do is I might want to leave a little bit of room there to the left side. So what this whole activate deactivate view thing has been, as you're getting used to this in the drawing, this is where it really shines. Is right now I need to go through and I need to add some labels to this view. So to really know where those are at in the wall section view, it's really hard to kind of tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double left click on the wall section to activate it. So anytime you double click on a view, notice how now I can select individual components. If I deactivate the view, it picks up the whole thing, so I can't click on individual things. But if I left click, double left click, and choose, I can actually pick individual parts that I have going on. So here's what's going to happen. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to grab my text tool. So I'm on the annotate tab and I'm in the text panel, and I'm going to grab the text tool. Here you have when you have this active, this tool, when it is active, you're going to have a panel called leader. And the option that you're going to choose is something called 2 segments. So this is going to create leader lines like what you see on the example drawing set. I'm going to go ahead and scroll kind of down or pan down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on an item, like for example, this 2x10 section that we put in, and I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to kind of drag out. I'm going to click again to create the end of that leader, and then I'm going to go ahead and set out a line here, and I'm going to click one more time, which is now going to give me a text box. So I'm going to go ahead and do, this is going to be a 2-inch by 10-inch band board. And once I get done, all I have to do, a lot of times your tendency is to hit enter, but I'm just going to click off of it. Okay, this is going to allow me to, if I need, if I right click and say cancel twice, and then if I select this, if I need to move this around, I can move it around. I try to do about a 45-degree angle on this. If you need to shorten these lines, you can. And then if you need to rotate it, you can do that as well. Okay, so the 2x10-inch band board is what we have going on. Now for down here at the floor, I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to do the text option. And I'm going to go ahead and just, now you're going to notice I still have my leader option selected. So I'm actually going to hit cancel, choose text. I want just no leader. So that's the very first option in the leader panel. And I'm just going to click there, and I'm going to do 2-inch, excuse me, by 10-inch. And we're going to kind of abbreviate floor joists at 16 inches on center. Okay, just like how we have it. I can go ahead and hit cancel twice to stop placing text, and now I can kind of move that in, and I'm going to put that right on top of where the floor joist would be in our construction. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and choose text again. This time I'm going to switch back to a leader, so I'm going to go ahead and choose the 2 segments from the leader panel. And next one here is going to be a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to click on this layer. So the one right below the finished floor. Now here's what Revit does for you. So I'm going to go up here, and when I get close to where these little bins are, it gives me a tracking line. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, when I see that, I'm going to click, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing when I get to the end. And I'm going to go ahead and click, and I'm going to go ahead and put, this is a 1/2 inch plywood subfloor. And when I click off of it, there it puts that in. So now the leader lines, these bins are going to line up together, the ends of the leader are going to line up together, and it looks really nice and neat. So Revit helps us do that. I'm going to go ahead and grab the next one, click, do the same thing. When I get close to these, see the tracking line that shows up, click, see the tracking line when I get to the end, click, and then I'm going to go ahead and do, this is going to be finished floor, and I'm going to click off of that. Okay, so there we've just detailed the flooring and what construction that we have for the flooring options. So as we go through and do this, okay, my next one, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this section up a little bit. I'm gonna grab this gray layer, I'm gonna click on it so it doesn't highlight or anything, but we're just pointing to it. And again, when I get on those bins, I'm gonna click, grab my tracking lines when I see them. This is gonna be gypsum wallboard. So that's drywall or gypsum wallboard. Okay, between kind of this plywood layer or anything like that, I'm going to do the same thing. Again, see my tracking lines. This is going to be the moisture barrier. Right in the middle, roughly. These are going to be 2 inch by 4 inch. Studs at 16 inches on center, so the OC stands for on center. So we'll talk a little bit more about construction methods and everything. Also kind of right in the middle, again, notice how I'm getting my tracking lines. This is going to be batt insulation, B-A-T-T insulation, so rolls of or batts for the insulation. And then I want to go ahead and grab this layer. This is going to be 1/2 inch plywood wall sheathing. And then right above this, we'll go through, we'll grab the outside layer, and if I run up here, click, click, 1/2 inch vertical wood siding. Okay. Now, in some cases, I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel twice to stop placing leaders. Like for example, if you need to kind of drag and adjust these down, you can go through and do that. So sometimes it goes through, and it's just a little bit of just kind of tweaking to make it look a little bit better. So me personally, I don't like, you know, kind of to overwrite, so I'm going to drag this line here. I don't like to cross over like a level line like that. So that's why I kind of want to show you how to adjust and make some of those things there. Same thing here, finished floor. We can drag that down. Same thing on this plywood. We can kind of adjust those things. Really easy to go through and adjust and to be able to make some of those items. But again, leader lines, the ends of them should all line up. I like having all the bins and the lines line up as well. I think it looks really nice and neat, and we can go from there. Okay. A few other things. So I'm going to grab text. Make sure that the 2 segments is there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click, place this one, and since we're up kind of above, you might not be able to pick up a tracking line. That's okay. So since we're kind of away from some of the other ones, so this is going to be 2x6 ceiling joist, and then as we get up to the top here, we're going to have 2. So we've got 1 here. It's going to be kind of hard to not cross that level line, so if I can avoid it I will, but if not, that's okay. This is going to be 1/2 inch OSB sheathing, and then again we're going to cross this level line. If you can't avoid it, you can't avoid it. So that's what we're kind of doing there. So here's the asphalt shingles, and then while I've got this, I'm going to choose just the regular no leader text. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to outside of this, I'm going to click. We're going to put in, these are going to be 2 inch by 8 inch rafters at 16 inches on center. And what we're going to do is I'm going to hit cancel twice to stop placing text. Select this text. I'm going to go ahead and drag it over, and let me go ahead and use the little rotate option to match the line here, to match the roof line or where the rafters are going to be. And you're going to rotate that into place, and then that way that label's on top of those, and that's how you get that. Okay. Again, you can go through and see kind of where your labels stop, making sure they don't run off the page and everything. The last thing that we're going to have for this wall section is going to be to add the slope. So here we're going to choose under dimension. Again, your menu may look a little different. We're going to choose spot slope. I'm going to click on this option. Underneath the ribbon here, I want to choose, rather than arrow, I want to choose the triangle. And when I move down here, you're going to go through and you're going to see offset from reference about 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this top line. And as far as this goes, I'm going to right click and say cancel twice. Whoops, I actually need to try that one more time. I'm going to click. Oh, I forgot. I got to do one more click to get it placed. So it's a 2-click operation. Once I have it placed, I can right click and say cancel twice. If your triangle is not really kind of formatted very well, you can always go through and kind of drag it in a little closer. So you can always use the little grips. This is just going to flip it, so we want it to be above, that way we can see it. So this is going to communicate that 212 slope. If yours is not showing that, you can always select it, and then you can always say edit type. And in the edit type, if yours is not showing like the 212 option, you can always go through and go into here, the units format. So if you click on this, the option you want to choose on the units is going to be a ratio to 12. And then you're going to select OK and select OK. So then that way it should show up just like what I have here on the screen. Okay. So there finishes out our section, our wall section. I'm going to go ahead and double left click off in the white space. And then the only thing we have is you might have had a couple of elevations, interior elevations. I showed you how to place those. So all I got to do is drag these over. So here was a bathroom elevation that I created. And then here's a dining kitchen elevation that I created. I can just click to place those. And depending upon how you want these to look, you can always, like here, this has got, I believe, like some of the crop, the crop region maybe turned on. This is actually just the wall outline. But if you don't want to go through and you want to take a look at some of these, you can always double left click and kind of see what you kind of have going on. So this is definitely the crop region that's been turned on, actually. So I want to hide the crop region. So if I double left click off of that. And same thing here, if you want to change the view, the type of view, if you want to go to shaded, you want to go to realistic, you can go through and change how that looks. And then you can double left click off to deactivate the view. So, all right, so this is part 2. The section view does take a little bit of time just to get all the labels in and everything, but it's actually pretty easy, and you get the hang of it and start to pick up on the little nuances that Revit is trying to go through and have you do. So, but this would finish out the sections drawing for our Sunset Key drawing set. Take a look at the next video, and we'll take a look at the schedules and how to create those.